My degens 2.0, big patch, super excited for everything. But the best thing about this patch, in my opinion, respectfully, is the update to Ellen's kit. So today, let's talk about the new Ellen Jo, how we should play her, and what we can expect from the upgrades. But before we get into it, I want to remind you guys that when 2.0 drops, we're going to get a selector S-rank agent as well as an S-rank W engine from the permanent pool, 30 limited pools, 10 boopons, protagonist skins, anniversary avatars, titles, and all of that. And so before we get inside of Ellen herself, I do want to give my quick thoughts on what I've found playing her so far. And it's that, first of all, she definitely does feel a lot better to play. A lot more smoother, a lot more iframes, feeling very modern-like. And yes, she absolutely does a lot more damage, but also, she has some extra little bits added to her kit that aren't immediately obvious. And that's really exciting because it raises her damage and skill ceiling. That said though, let me disclaimer, don't expect Miyabi level damage because that's freaking crazy, but I'd say that she is now like firmly in the middle of the pack, certainly competitive, especially with the right team. Alright, and so when you hop into the game after the 2.0 update, you're going to go over to her skills section and then click onto this guy over here, the core skills. And what you're going to see is a new toggle down here, activate potential. Just make sure that this guy is on. But what's really cool is that you can toggle it off to use old Ellen. Now, in my opinion, there is no reason to ever use old Ellen again unless you like getting spanked, in which, you know, more power to you. But aside from the kit changes themselves, what you'll see is that with the core skill, the additional ability, we can now run teams like Lighter, Astra, Trigger, Caesar, all of the good stuff, thanks to this new stun parameter to activate her additional ability, which is a free 30% ice damage. Alright, in that case, let's get into her kit. So her biggest change is that she now has two new basic attacks. The first one is a big flying slash thing, so you can see after this, bada bing bada boom, that is attack number 1. And then the second one is going to be this backflip looking thing. You can see, bada bing bada boom, and we've just done a backflip into a slash. So I'll show you guys again. Snip snip into backflip slash, and then we're going to get B3, and then we're going to get the big slash. You can see backflip and big gets potential. Now, these two moves are incredibly awesome because first of all, they have incredibly good ratios, but the second thing is also, whilst you're using both of them, you are completely invulnerable. But the best part about these new basic attacks is that if you are playing Ellen correctly, you're pretty much never going to use her basic 1 and 2 again. So you should pretty much never see this stuff again, like boom, boom into like your basic 3, and then all of that. So in that case, let me show you guys the new basic rotation. And instead of starting off our combos with like slash slash, we're going to start it off with sprinting into snip snip. As you can see, snip snip right there. And then from the snip snip, we're just going to keep mashing basic attack, except this time we're going to get backflip into basic attack 3, or high multipliers into the gets potential, into the backflip again. So you can see we are not going into the basic attack 1 and 2 at all. So again, snip snip into backflip, into basic attack 3, hold the button, into the last slash. Alright, and so the first nuance to her kit is that slash at the end, the big flying slash, so let's go all the way, basic 3, cut it short, and then slash, that one over there. What happens is that bad boy gives you a quick charge. And what's really cool about that is that it means that the next time we actually do the snip snip, you can see that is really fast. And that is probably the biggest change to Ellen because it means that her stacks get maintained really easily. So going back to the two basic attacks, we've got this backflip over here. And what you're going to notice is that this slash over here, the flying slash, does not consume any of the flash freeze points. However, the backflip actually does. So if I do the snip snip into the backflip, you're going to see it uses 2 points. But I want to show you guys again, we're going to go fast charge into that, and then the backflip into basic 3, and then slash, and then you can see I can't continue the combo. And so what that means is that after we finish the combo, so backflip into basic 3, into the slash, we actually go back into sprint, and then we do it again. So this is essentially the basic loop. Now what can happen is that if you do manage to get 6 stacks in total, you can go straight into the snip snip, but what you can do is essentially just mash attack basic attack until you use up all of the stacks. And it essentially loops between the backflip as well as the basic 3 and the flying slash until you use all of the stacks without going into basic 1 and 2. And that's pretty much the general rotation that we're going to do from here. As you can tell, no basic 1, no basic 2. Alright, and so the only hard part about this, and Ellen in general, is the timing for the sprint. Because you have to hold the dodge just long enough to get into sprint. Because if you just dodge attack, you're not going to get your snip snip. But if you hold it like just long enough, you will get the snip snip. That's pretty much the only mechanically hard thing with Ellen, and it's not even that hard. I bet you'll practice and you'll get it in like 2 minutes. All right, so that's the generic rotation. Now let's add some enemy movement into the mix because this is how it actually works in real life. And what you'll see is that it's pretty much the same thing, except we're just going to add extra dodges into it. So old mate's going to attack me, I'm going to dodge into snip snip, and I'm just going to spam basic attack. I want to do all of these different things. I'm just going to wait until he's trying to attack me, and then I'm just going to dodge again. And I'm going to completely ignore if he's going to attack me or anything like that to keep my combo going so that you can see it's like pretty much an infinite loop, right? I am just snipping into the backflip into a basic 3, and then I am waiting for him to attack me again. Oh, please, please, because that is going to give me the stacks and I can just keep going with my rotation. Holy crap, this is truly a good on-field experience, which is really freaking cool, right? And so combined with the dodges and just doing the generic rotation, you can see that I'm pretty much never running out of stacks, which is an incredible change. But again, this is thanks to that last slash giving us extra like quick charge. So I can just quick charge now, considering he is still charging up, and then dodge again. I'm going to get so many stacks. Holy crap, it is just stacks for days. It is just enhanced basic attacks for days. It's so freaking good. All right, and so what I did want to mention is that in the whole combo, there is a weakness, and it's in the basic attack 3. So you can see all of everything has iframes. I can just pretty much ignore what he's doing, except for when I'm doing this move. Da 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 da. You saw right there. I am not invulnerable, I just got kicked out of it. So what I'm trying to say is that you should still try to be dodging. Don't just like assume you're going to be invincible the whole time. So TLDR, don't be lazy, just dodge and go get your stacks and then keep doing the loop. That is going to be fine. It's just that the basic attack 3 is going to be your weakness. All right, and so the next thing is that you can absolutely swap Parry, Clang Clang into Ellen, but I'm going to show you guys exactly what's going to happen when that happens. So I'm going to go into Ellen. I'm going to swap into Ellen, and then I'm just going to left click so you guys can see. Boom, boom, smash, and then nothing else. Like the combo kind of ends. You saw I just went into basic 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, which is really freaking weird. We don't want that, right? So I'm going to show you what you should be doing if we are going to parry swap into Ellen. Okay, sorry, that's not Ellen. All right, we're going to parry into Ellen, and you can see we're going to get the slash, and then after the slash, we're going to go into the snip snip. So that is how we're going to extend the combo and then do it endlessly again. So let me show you guys again. I'm going to go back to into Lycoan, waiting for a parry, and then we're going to do the counter and then get the slash and then straight into snip snip, dash into snip snip, and then just go from there. Just resume the infinite combo. My degens, I know it looks really freaking crazy, but I think if you guys just play for 5 minutes with these points in mind, you will understand and know how to pilot her quite fast. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the dodge counter. You don't want to dodge and then sprint and then do the snip snip, which is exactly what I just did. So I'm going to show you again, dodge, sprint, snip snip. That just takes way too much time. What we want to do is we want to dodge with a directional key and go straight into sprinting. So watch this. That is so much faster than what I just did before, right? So let me show you guys again to compare. I'm going to dodge and then sprint and then snip snip. That's the slow version. Now instead, I'm going to go either left or right, directional. I'm going to dodge directionally and then go straight into a snip snip. So don't do the first one, do the second one. And then we have the animation canceling, the super sweaty optimizations. Now, what some people are going to tell you is that you can cancel the flying slash. So I'm talking about this one here, the one that's at the end of this chain. So backflip into B3, into that guy over there. So people are going to say that you're able to cancel this. And so let me show you guys what that looks like. I'm going to go snip, snip, into backflip, into B3, into, and then just like that. So I dodge canceled out of the slash. I'll show you guys one more time. And just like this, instead of letting like the slash go through, I cancel it. Now, the reason why people would say to do that is because that slash gives you the quick charge, which means you get your next snip snip faster. And so some people believe that this slash doesn't do enough damage. and it's better to just cancel the slash and just go straight back into snip snip and keep the combo going. Now, I'm a normie. I just get the 20k in dead ass. I collect my rewards and I call it a day. I'm that type of guy. And I'm also the type of guy who feels like a freaking absolute monster when I do this massive slash, like boom. That feels freaking awesome. So personally, I'm going to keep using it because it's all good. It is certainly an option. There is probably a use case out there. Somebody will find a use for this cancel. All right, so that's pretty much it in terms of how to pilot Ellen. Let's quickly talk about her gear, and to be honest, pretty much nothing has changed. We're still rocking the 4-piece polar metal because remember, all of those new attacks like the backflip as well as the big flying slash, it's all basic attack. And this bad boy increases the damage of basic attack, which is utterly fantastic. So 4-piece polar metal and then any 2-piece offensive set. It could be attack, it could be crit rate or whatever. I love the branch and blade song. I love crit damage, but at the end of the day, make sure you have about 70 to 80% crit rate on Ellen Jo. So I've just swapped out her signature for the Marcato because this guy is so based. And you can come back over here. We've got 80% crit rate. This is pretty much optimal stats for Ellen. And then coming back over to the discs, we've got disc 4 crit damage, disc 5 ice damage bonus, and then disc 6 attack. All very generic. Pretty much nothing has changed. You don't have to refarm for her, which is really freaking nice. And then in regards to W engines, of course, we've got the Deep Sea Visitor. We've got her signature itself. Now, Hugo's signature is actually pretty freaking cracked as well. So if for whatever reason you do have Hugo's signature, that's all good too. Super, super effective. Now, after that, we go to the free to pause like me. It's going to be Marcato Desire. All roads lead to Marcato. And if you don't have Marcato, then it's going to be your classic either Cannon Rotor, which is again pay to win, BP. And then we're going down to your Starlight Engine, your Gilded Blossom, these kind of attack ones. Now, I personally prefer crit rate. I always prefer crit rate, especially for Ellen. So I would say that unfortunately in this case, the Marcato and the Cannon Rotor, they are just really, really freaking strong. All right, and so with that, I think we have covered off everything with new Ellen. Again, my DGens, I am having a blast playing with new Ellen. I think she is super, super fun right now. Pretty much all of her previous weaknesses have been addressed. She's like invincible like 80% of the time. And she also does a crap ton of damage. For a rework or for a potential, whatever they're calling it, I think this is a great first attempt. And I'm super keen to see if they're gonna rework any other characters like Ju Yuan or your Jane Doe or anything like that. Anyway, my DGens, let me know how you guys are feeling about the new Ellen rework. Are you impressed? Are you not impressed? Do you already have her or are you gonna pull her now thanks to the rework? Let us know down in the comments below, but otherwise, this is the end of the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.